Kyle Connor is making the dollars. That was awful. I'm sorry. The Winnipeg Jets have signed Kyle Connor to a franchise record contract. 8 years, $12 million per season. That is a $96 million deal. Let's talk about it. First of all, we're seeing the market on what NHL players are making reset at an aggressive rate. We didn't see it quite as quickly as we expected on July 1st. We saw it with some lower tier guys. Like, no disrespect to them, they're good hockey players, but they're not exactly Connor McDavid, for example, or even Kyle Connor. Nick Hague got a big pay deal, so did Kevin Ball, so did Christian Dvorak, but we're all like, oh, that feels like kind of a lot. Mitch Marner signed for $12 million in Vegas. Mikko Rantanen signed for $12 million in Dallas. But for both of those players, the rumored numbers ahead of them signing those deals was bigger. So even those, we were like, oh, okay. It's a lot, but okay. Kirill Kaprizov changed the game, making $17 million a year. And what I think we're going to see more and more going forward is star players like Kyle Connor and their agents looking at Connor McDavid's contract extension that he just signed and go, yeah, that's him though. Star players are going to continue to get paid something along the lines of what Kyle Connor just signed for. If you are wondering how Kyle Connor is worth $12 million per season, maybe you need to learn a little bit more about Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor is an elite goal scorer in the NHL, and he has been for a number of years. The 2016-17 season with the Winnipeg Jets was his NHL debut. He scored 2 goals in 20 games. In his sophomore season, he scored 31 goals in 76 games, and he never looked back. His goal totals in order: 31, 34, 38, 26, we'll get to that later, 47, 31, 34, 41. 41 being last season. In the 26 goal season that Connor had, it was actually the Canada Division 56 game shortened season. If it were an 82 game season, he was scoring at a 38 goal pace. And a few seasons ago, when he scored 34 goals, well, he only played 65 games, so he actually scored at a 43 goal pace. He scored at a better pace than last season when he had 41. Since the beginning of the 2021-2022 season, Kyle Connor is 13th in the entire NHL over that span in goals. And he's not just a power play merchant, because he's not even in the top 50 in power play goals over that span. In even strength goals over the past 4 seasons, Kyle Connor is fourth. The only guys ahead of him are Austin Matthews, David Pastrnak, and Nathan MacKinnon by 1. McDavid is behind him. Nylander is behind him. Rantanen is behind him. Ovechkin is behind him. Draisaitl's 13th? Kyle Connor is also top 10 in shots over that span. If you want to go all the way back to Kyle Connor's first breakout season in the 2017-18 season, Connor is 8th in the entire NHL in goal scoring over that span. He is elite. In terms of even strength goals over that span, Kyle Connor is 6th, still ahead of Leon Draisaitl and barely behind Nathan MacKinnon. Guy's an animal. And 10th in shots. Guy's an animal! Are there flaws to his game? Well, Team USA sure thinks so. We saw that at the Four Nation Face-Off. Instead of going with Kyle Connor, who was one of the best goal scorers in hockey last season, not to mention literally one of the best American goal scorers in hockey last season, in the gold medal game against Canada, they opted to go with 6.5 minutes, roughly, of Matthew Tkachuk and also last year's version of Chris Kreider. What's that saying again? Never interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake? I think all of Canada, including especially Jets fans, were like, yeah, no, that's a really good idea. You should do that. And then that game went to overtime. And the States almost won a bunch of times, but they didn't win. They came close to winning, but they didn't win. What if Kyle Connor was playing in that game? Well, what if he was? Well, he wasn't. And the entire nation was thankful for it, just not the one he plays for. This essentially confirms that Kyle Connor is going to be a Winnipeg Jet for his whole career, if not the vast majority of his career. He's only 28 right now. He signed an 8-year deal. That takes him to 36. The Winnipeg Jets picked Kyle Connor 17th overall in 2015, and they couldn't have nailed that pick harder if they tried. From the 2015 draft class, Kyle Connor is 3rd in goal scoring only behind Connor McDavid and Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen is 10 goals ahead of Connor in 39 more games. Over 100 points ahead of him in assists, but we're going to ignore that. Here's what I want you to avoid. I think because Connor McDavid just signed his extension at $12.5 million per, people are going to look at Kyle Connor's deal, and some of them might say, well, you're paying the Winnipeg premium there. I don't think that's true at all. I think that is perfect fair market value for Kyle Connor, and the idea of the Winnipeg premium for now is definitely gone. They won the President's Trophy last year. How good does that Hellebuck deal look right about now? How good does that Scheifele deal look right about now that they signed just a couple years ago? And now they got Kyle Connor on, yeah, it's expensive, but it's perfectly reasonable for what he does. The core of the Winnipeg Jets is locked up for the foreseeable future now that Connor's done. All of Scheifele, Velarde, Connor, Niederreiter, Iafallo, Nemesnikov, and Barron are locked up front. You're going to have to get Cole Perfetti done. That's the one headache you got to worry about, but he's a restricted free agent, and now you don't have to worry about the Connor deal. On the back end, Pionk, Morrissey, Sandberg, DeMello, all locked up, and Hayden Fleury. And of course, Connor Hellebuck. The big thing that all teams are going to be looking for going forward is cost certainty and locking guys up to term, because all the projections for the salary cap are up. Oh, it's going to be 104 million. Oh, actually, it's going to be 107. Actually, it's going to be 110. We're just living in a different world than we were a few years ago. A few years ago, you would look at Kyle Connor and the fact that he's currently making just over $7 million. And then you would look at next year, he's making 12. He's getting a nearly $5 million raise. The cap is not going to go up by $5 million. We're paying more to keep the same team. In fact, we're probably going to have to subtract from the roster. This isn't good. That's just not the world we live in anymore. Kyle Connor is getting a significant raise, and the salary cap is still going to go up by far more than that. The only real concern is at the end of it, he's going to be old. Dude, Kyle Connor's under contract with the Jets for the next 9 seasons because he signed the 8-year extension, and he's still got this one that hasn't even started. Yeah, in 6, 7, 8 years, maybe you do have to start worrying about that cap hit. But consider this. The cap will probably have gone up significantly more by then. And also, who cares? What if he gets old and can't score goals as well anymore? What if someone breaks into your house and abducts you and takes you into a hot air balloon, and then that hot air balloon is attacked by a bunch of, like a flock of geese with extra sharp beaks, and then the hot air balloon goes crashing down into the lake, and you realize you can't swim. And also there's new freshwater sharks, and you're eaten by the freshwater sharks. That is a less sophisticated way of saying, why are you worrying about that? Relax. An elite player under contract is always a good thing. And for the Winnipeg Jets and their fans, Kyle Connor under contract at a perfectly fair market rate, it's good for them. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends the 2025-26 NHL season is underway.